Welcome to worship with the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. I'm the Reverend Innis. It is my great joy to be the minister with this congregation of people of all ages at all stages of life. This is a beloved community striving to live into its mission of embracing freedom, loving wholeheartedly, growing in mind, body, and spirit, and adding to the wholeness and the healing of the world. This is a welcoming community for people of all ages and ethnicities and races, sexual orientation, gender identities, social and economic locations, politics, and abilities. We advocate for human rights, and we strive to be good stewards of this one earth. And so in recognizing the relationships of which we are a part, we also take a moment, as we have been asked to do, to recognize the Peoria people. But they were here long before the first European settlers came down the Illinois River. So we take a moment in our service to recognize the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. I want to thank folks for joining us in person and online. This is a beloved community. We recognize how powerful it is to gather together, to freely choose to associate with one another, to enter into relationship. And thank you for, if you are new to us, thank you for being brave enough to say, hey, there's this place of people who probably already know each other I'm going to try and fit into. This is no small thing. So if you are new to us, please help us get to know you. We have lots of name tags. We love all the questions. Just test us. No, really, test us on the questions. And also, I invite folks to stay after service today. Join us for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. And if you're joining us on Zoom, there's a little chat there as well. Just come on over if you want to hang out outside, because it's a beautiful day. So there should be patio activity outside, right? So come on over and chat more. I want to invite folks to turn your respective devices to worship mode, if they're buzzy or silent for most of us. And I have a few notes for today. First, I want to thank Judith Corn-Shanahan for our wonderful altar decorations for this month. She's done a wonderful job of bringing out lovely art and sensibility. And also, we had a large wedding, and I mean large wedding, in the building over the weekend, transformed Fellowship Hall, transformed the sanctuary, and look, it looks like the sanctuary should always look. It was amazing, and thank you to everybody who helped move things back into place. There are some wedding treats that they provided as from the service yesterday, so there's lots of like sugar in many forms. Let's just put it that way. I also want to thank, we have a guest musician today. Charlie Boussier is our guest pianist. So yay, thank you very much, Charlie. And a couple of announcements for today. One, we are kind of giving a little reboot to our social impact committee. Specifically, we're going to be talking about this congregation tries to commit to certain projects at the fall congregational meeting. We're going to have a little conversation about that this afternoon. You're welcome to join. I'm going to be in the conference room. The conversation is also going to be on Zoom at 1 p.m., so see me after service if you'd like to be there. So 1 p.m. for social impact. There also is at noon, so shortly after the service ends, we have a planning meeting for the haunted forest. Now, if you are new to us, if you have not seen our haunted forest before, I tell you, it is a thing. We transform the loop trail in the woods into a larger-than-life haunted experience. This year will be October 25th. And we have truly hundreds of people come to the church, come to our trail, get Halloween candy, have a great time. And so for one, it's a massively visible moment. It's a lot of fun. And also, we need a lot of different hands to help make different parts of that happen. So if you would like to help, there's lots of different ways to help of various different skills and time and so on. If you would like to help, please come join us at noon. See Jesse today. And we can always have more donations of candy. I mean, because candy. So there also part of it is, there is, for those of us who remember the 80s, we have a thriller dance contest, although it's not just for those who remember the 80s. We have a kind of a thriller dance mob happening as part of the Haunted Forest. So see Regina, there's a little rehearsal at 6 p.m. on Mondays here at the church. See Regina Stanley if you're checking out the thriller dance. We have a few more things because we have October seems to have we have plenty to do in December, but I tell you, the UUs, we show up in October. Yes. So next Friday evening will be a Halloween fest for our families. People are welcome to bring friends as well. So check out Halloween fest this coming Friday evening, kind of our own Halloween party. Next Saturday, we have a couple of big things happening. One being we have a forest cleanup Saturday morning. So one, to clean up the trail, but also to make it nice for the Haunted Forest. We are hosting an event next Saturday, begins at 11 a.m., that is talking about speaking up for advocacy for folks who are victims of domestic violence, survivors of domestic violence, and also a word about abuse, sex trafficking, and so on. So I really want to encourage folks to think about that. If you want more to know about that, please join me. And if you're not going to do that, I have a feeling that a lot of folks are going to be at the No Kings protest over at the Peoria Stadium War Memorial Saturday afternoon. So rock on. We also have our annual book sale is coming up the second weekend in November, and donations can be received now. So go clear out your books, bring them to church, bring them in boxes, please. So it makes it easier for us to move the books when we get to it. But go and see if you want to weed out some books and donate them for our book sale right now. And you can see Nancy Rakoff if you want to help, if you want to take a shift during the sale itself. And I think we will go with that. Our hymns this morning are drawing on our library videos today. So before we sing our opening hymn, I will invite you to join me in kind of getting into the spirit of our opening hymn before we turn to the video. It'll be Gathered Here, number 389, if you like the gray hymnal. Now I'm going to admit right this moment, I'm going to choose a key that is lower than the video you're seeing. I'm just going to trust that you all can adapt because I want to get through the song. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we turn and sing with our video, Gathered Here.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirits, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour,
See, we can learn how to do a round. As long as we all end at the same time, we're great. Thank you. I invite Jean Jost for our opening words.
Good morning. These wonderful welcoming words, "Come into the circle," are by Reverend Scott Taylor. Come into the circle of compassion and care. Bring your worry and your wounds, your longings and your hopes. With word and song, we rekindle the connection that mends what's been torn. With stillness and the space to pause, we restore our strength for the work that must be done, for the work of love, for the work of peace, for the work of repair, the work of remembering we are not alone. Let us begin.
And I invite Becca Laughlin forward for our chalice lighting.
The Wisdom to Know by Reverend Michelle Collins. We light this chalice as we learn to hold both tenderness and strength. May this flame illuminate the wisdom to know when compassion calls us to offer comfort and when it demands courageous action.
When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. During our music for meditation, all are welcome to come forward, light candles at our tables, make a small light that acknowledges what is with you and within you. And if you are online, I invite you to let these candles be for you. And let us now enter into our music for meditation. From Abraham Heschel. Prayer invites God to be present in our spirits and in our lives. Prayer cannot bring water to parched land, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, or rebuild a weakened will. This is the time for the sharing of joys and sorrows in the congregation. I want to begin with a joy. A little birdie and Facebook told me that today is Bill Ordaz's birthday, so happy birthday, Bill. We also offer a note of support and encouragement to everybody who was running in and involved with making the Chicago Marathon happen this morning. So yay. 53,000 runners going through the streets of Chicago. Oh my goodness. And some of the signs were kind of fantastic. Like, our hero wears running shoes, and beer is near, let's go. And pain is just French bread. Oh my gosh, I love that one. Pain is just French bread. There we go. Pain is just French bread. Okay. It is lovely to see life in Chicago be as vibrant and wonderful as ever. We also wish Kathy McNeil a speedy recovery after her shoulder repair surgery. She says she'll likely be in recovery for several weeks, but is looking forward to getting back into the UU swing of things when she can. We offer our care and sympathy to George Hopkins and his family for the loss of his Aunt Holly class last Saturday. So sorry, George. I know she meant so much to you. I also want to offer our sympathy to there's a teenager who was shot and killed in south side of Peoria this week. On any given Sunday, we could name at least one such name from this community. But let's honor just one in particular, not let a moment pass, even when we can't name everybody. In our larger world, we grieve the death of Dr. Jane Goodall, who was such a presence and speaker for creatures great and small and for our beautiful earth. We extend our sympathy to the community in Tennessee following the deadly explosion of the munitions plant and the loss of 18 lives. That hazardous work supported a large network of beloved people, and now the people are gone, as is that income. The loss is so deep. May the impacted people and the whole community find a way forward with respect and compassion. This weekend marks the intersection of a range of our human experience. For this week, the middle of the week marks the end of Hispanic Heritage Month. Yesterday, October 11th, was National Coming Out Day for folks who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, queer, asexual, plus. Monday is being recognized as Indigenous Peoples Day, at least in some parts of the country. It's being recognized as somebody else's day in other parts of the country. Indigenous Peoples Day, rock on. We live amid layers of diversity and oppression, joy and sorrow, abundance and grief. May we practice kindness and love, attention and affirmation, humility and pride. May we continue to make justice a tangible result of love in action. I invite us to hold one more moment of quiet. Within us and among us are so many names and milestones, joys and sorrows. Our circle expands to hold all. So let us pause to breathe in this circle of care, entering into quiet together and simply breathing and paying attention to this one moment we know we have. So breathe with me and pause. Amen. Salam. Shalom. And blessed be. And now I invite Jesse forward for our story.
Our story today is My Powerful Hair, and we get to learn a little something about a culture that may not be ours. It may be. It is written by Carol Lindstrom, a member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Ojibwa, and illustrated by Steph Littlebird, and she is a member of Oregon's Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde. I can't wait for my hair to grow. Mom has never had long hair. She was told hers was too wild. Nokomis could not have long hair. Hers was taken. Our ancestors say our hair is our memories, our source of strength, an extension of us. When Nimshumus taught me how to fish for the first time, my hair was at my ears. His stories and memories of that day are woven into my hair. Our ancestors say we grow our hair long to be close to Mother Earth. When my baby brother was born, my hair touched my shoulders. The gift of welcoming him to this world is woven into my hair. Our ancestors say our hair carries our energies and power. It is a celebration of our lives. When my cousins taught me how to make moccasins, my hair was past my shoulders. All of the laughter from that day are woven into my hair. Our ancestors say, when a loved one braids your hair, it reinforces the sacredness of your relationship. When my hair reached my back, Aunt Delia braided it so that I could dance at powwow. All of her teachings and prayers are woven into my hair. Our ancestors say our hair is our medicine. The vibrancy of our culture and our connections to the earth and to each other are woven through our hair. When Nimishomas journeyed on to the spirit world, my hair was past my waist. I cut it. I sent it to the spirit world with him so that he could have my energies. I'm growing my hair again. And Mom says she wants to grow hers too. We will do it together. I wonder how you feel connected. I wonder what's important to you. I invite the kids, the adults who are volunteering in religious education to join me. And I'll take a little bit of the flame with us as we go. You may now sing, "Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go."
from my colleague, Reverend Joe Von Rue. In our world, so many voices are silenced. So many truths remain unspoken because the speaker fears rejection, judgment, or worse. Our financial offerings today help sustain this congregation as a place where so many voices are heard, where truth is spoken without fear, where vulnerability is met with compassion. We give in gratitude for this beloved community and with hope for a world where more voices can speak to the truth. And we also offer a portion of our abundance out into the world with our Share the Plate practice. We send half of our undesignated plate to a monthly named recipient. This month, it's Product of the Projects. There's a local effort to involve urban youth in community development. They develop character, accountability, positive relationship, and financial literacy, and just healthy lives. And so they cultivate those things in our youth and hopefully have the youth give back to the community. And so please consider our Share the Plate as you give today. Again, half the undesignated plate will go to Product of the Projects. And I invite you to turn to the envelopes and the order of service to designate how you would like to give today. And we appreciate all of the gifts and all of the effort that goes into making this a beloved community. And I invite the ushers to please come forward. So let me introduce our reading, and while I'm doing that, I will invite Joe Lakota and Holly Green to join me as fellow readers. So we have a longer form reading today from the Reverend Alicia Ford. Reverend Alicia is an African-American woman and Unitarian Universalist minister. And we have a shared reading. You might want to have to, so we take turns at the pulpit. So Holly is reader voice 1, Joe is voice 2, I get to be voice 3. So let us begin.
Am I a guest here? Here, in this house? Are you? Are we guests here? Here in this house? And whose house do we inhabit?
In the small world of our lives, the borders between us, easements, fences, gates, hedges, serve to delineate, to separate us, to remind us where my property begins and ends, where your property begins and ends. If you cross over, you are a trespasser or a guest in my house.
You've worked to own this small plot of land and the house erected on it. You've claimed it. It is now part of your self, your definition of self, your identity. If I cross over your fences, am I trespasser or a guest in your house?
What does it mean then that in 1845 the United States crossed over into Mexico and took half of that country, took land, resources, labor? Was the U.S. trespasser, guest? Are there to be no consequences for taking what does not belong to you? Should we simply forget whose house we inhabit?
To speak of hospitality in immigration often erases historical context, the actions of the past that have led us step by step into this current predicament. Professor Miguel de la Torre writes, perhaps it might be more accurate to speak of the responsibility of restitution rather than the virtue of hospitality. Hospitality in this case implies that the house belongs to us, that the land, the resources are part of this house is ours, and we, who now live here, are being virtuous in our willingness to share.
It erases the history that would have us remember those who cross the border today, those choosing to brave the harsh conditions of the desert, those who face the possibility of death, imprisonment, deportation, criminalization, are doing so because the U.S. once crossed their borders to extract their resources and labor. It is for them a matter of survival.
It is, for the U.S., a matter of restitution. The prospect of restitution is scary. Where do we begin? With Mexico? With Native Americans? With territories? With the descendants of those who were enslaved?
How do we acknowledge and address the complexities of our history, present, and if we're not conscious, future of dominance? What would right relationship look like? What conditions and considerations would make restitution possible? And for us, Unitarian Universalists, what would it mean for us to shake off the idea of hospitality as a central principle that is often attached to immigration and delve into the concept of restitution?
Whose house do we inhabit? For we are not owners. We are not hosts. Nor are we, in fact, guests. What then is our responsibility? Here ends the reading. Our second song is from the group Ma Muse. I'll just sing it out, and then we'll sing it together with the video. I think you have the words in the inserts in the order of service. And we're just going to sing it as it shows up. It's fine. It's all music. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round, attend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change arise from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now. And what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Let us enter into the video. See.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
So I'm going to dive right in here and wonder out loud, when did you first hear about colonialism? Think about that for a moment. When did you first hear this understanding about what colonialism is? And when did you first begin to understand its implications? Colonialism and its implications. We are at the intersection of Indigenous Peoples Day, some say Columbus Day, Hispanic Heritage Month. We are deep in a moment of a conversation about colonialism. From my colleague, the Reverend Kate Lohr. In essence, colonialism involves one group of people extending power over another, taking land, extracting resources, imposing their language, their laws, their religion, and social systems, usually to the benefit of the colonizing power and at the expense of the colonized population. Colonialism operates from an assumption of inequality, that some people are better and more worthy than others, and other people are simply meant to be used. Pretty simple. Now, most of the time, this might be the point in the sermon when I would have a personal story about how I first understood colonialism and its impact. Here is how I'm invested. That kind of way to enter into the story. But as I put this together, I realized I actually don't have one of those kind of conversion moments. Not this time. The presumption that some people get to be over other people has been so much of the air I breathe, the water I drink, I can't even place a first moment of awareness. I mean, I grew up in Massachusetts. We were taking field trips to Plymouth Plantation and hanging out, learning about the good Indians, right? And the courageous and persecuted pilgrims who escaped religious persecution. And all the people, all that went into being helped with their survival and the big feast that everybody shared together, kumbaya. Right? Right? And I also can't place a moment of change. I can't place a particular moment when I started to really hear a little thing here and a little note there that made me wonder and made me consider and slowly led me to asking more questions and learning more stories. I mean, I remember somewhere along the lines, I presume I started out kind of being curious and then puzzled and disbelieving even. How could people do this to one another? How could the explorers that had been, the Europeans that had come to this continent and the area of what it became Cape Cod, come before and basically spread a plague that killed most of the population, which is why the Puritans had a lot of empty land. I didn't hear that story for a long time. But over time, I became aware of how and amazed of how intimately and thoroughly the entitlement and oppression are woven into our lives. How the desire for power and wealth combined with religious justification has led to centuries of global conquest, the deaths of whole nations and cultures, and the destruction of so much of our planet. I mean, because these are the stakes. This is the impact of the systemic progress of conquest has been in our existence, not just on the humans, but on everything. So where are we in the struggle in this time? Well, we have learned a little. We have gained some information, maybe even as a culture, a bit of wisdom. There's a much more honest accounting of Columbus and the terrible person he was. We are telling the heartbreaking stories of history. We are talking about the people directly impacted by colonialism and encouraging the reclamation of culture and language and art as much as possible in Massachusetts, in Illinois, in Oklahoma, among other places, among many places. To put it simply, we are encountering the history and the systems with respect and imagination and love for many of us, and the work that follows that care, even though there is so much work to do, it is daunting by itself. The theme for this month is cultivating compassion. And for today, I'm looking at compassion and justice. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King talks about compassion. He says, true compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It understands that an edifice that produces beggars needs restructuring. True compassion, he says. An edifice that produces beggars needs restructuring. From Amanda Beam, she says, but compassion is much more than a thought process or feeling pity for a poor and destitute soul. It's action. It's trying to remedy the underlying causes of suffering while internalizing the heartache as your own. So part of our effort here, part of our work is turning toward compassion, especially a path that reduces suffering in our society, including a reduction of suffering that includes letting go of how we create and reproduce inequality in the first place. Those are compassionate acts to let go of the systems that keep harming others and ourselves, and to try to halt passing it to our children in the process. Now, goodness knows the work is huge. We received it from long ago. In the Western world, we are inheritors and perpetuators of the doctrine of discovery. The accumulation of papal edicts and laws from the 15th century then emboldened and empowered Western Europeans as they traveled the world and claimed land and people in the name of their Christian gods and monarchs. So it's been in process for a long time. And these inequities continue into today. This is partially why we make an effort to make more visible heritage and culture from many cultures, including Hispanic Heritage Month. We still claim rights as these kind of United States and other nations still claim rights to be controlling other nations, to dominate and claim land and wealth while subjugating the people. We still operate from that. In our laws, even if sometimes our attitudes are changing, our laws come from these doctrine of discovery things. And so we are still unpacking all the implications and letting go and wondering how equality would actually look like if we weren't attached to laws that keep perpetuating the bias. We simply see it, for example, in just in the story that we had today of how Native Americans regard their hair and the deep connection to their spirit and to the earth, and how we are within a generation of people being told they have to cut their hair, they have to conform to the white European way. Can I get an amen, Joe? Amen. Thank you. And it's not even the past generation. Children are still fighting for the right to have their hair long. It certainly was the case when I was in Texas. It is not done. We have not learned entirely. We are not past. It is still a work in progress. So I'm part of a study group of ministers. Every year we explore a theme with papers and discussion, worship, and conduct time together. Last year was speculative fiction. This year is resisting authority. Last year was more fun. Resisting authority. Yes, that is our study for this year, for this fall. No wonder I'm balancing this conversation with talking about Superman. I'm just saying. But it's not without connection, talking about speculative fiction, Superman, and resisting authority, because so much of our conflict stems from efforts to push people apart, to keep disconnection alive, the industry of anger generation. People are cultivating anger and furiousness so that they can keep people engaged and also keep people separated. But the underlying theme that last year and into this year, to me, is this theme of moral imagination. We get to consider what matters most and how it unfurls in real life impact. I've talked a little bit about moral imagination before, this capacity we have to reflect, consider and create another way? Professor of homiletics Frank Thomas at Christian Theological Seminary in Indianapolis, Indiana, is the author of How to Preach a Dangerous Sermon and How to Survive a Dangerous Sermon. He's an African-American man who draws from the Black church tradition, even as he spurs his community and all of us into being more prophetic and in line with our larger purpose. He calls on religious leaders to consider deeply how to offer a message with integrity and relevance, and is strong enough to challenge unjust moral orders. Frank Thomas recognized how the world, average people, as well as leaders claiming authority and being an example, how we operate from a moral hierarchy. There are those who are deemed good, occupy a higher position, and those who are deemed less worthy are not so much treated with respect and value. This is again at the core of the doctrine of discovery. Those who are Christian, white Christian male at the top, and everybody is successfully worse going down. It's the same idea. He talks about a dangerous sermon. He says a dangerous sermon challenges unjust moral orders and dominance hierarchies and the resulting misallocation of freedom, resources, assets, and legitimacy. A dangerous sermon disrupts the legitimacy of the oppressive moral order that operates smoothly, efficiently, and often silently in the political, economic, cultural, and religious structures of a given society. Basically, those at the top are challenged when folks bring to light the humanity of those at the bottom and say again and again, all are equal. This is a threat. Thomas's call is to remind us of the power of moral imagination, to wonder about the order of the world, what led us into this moment, and why. How powerful it is to question and observe how other people respond, and ourselves. This is not a projection experience, this is a reflection experience. So we get to be called to moral imagination that expresses our ethical and spiritual values. We have a chance to observe and make a change. This has been being done in the course of the 20th century and through the 21st century, including those first efforts to say this weekend could be Indigenous Peoples Day, for example. The more we learn, the more we can choose justice and compassion, even when, especially when, it is uncomfortable, when we feel guilty, responsible. So appreciate the reading from the Reverend Alicia Ford, just unpacking that question. Who is the host? Who is the guest? Who is the trespasser? Just raising that question alone shifts the conversation. Even just the question of ownership comes into question. We are confronted with navigating the presence of colonialism every day. And it is so much our work to do. But there are moments when it gets really interesting and visible. Just recently, the National Football League announced that the musical artist, Bad Bunny, if you haven't read the news, no, really, this is a person. I'm not terribly familiar with him either. Bad Bunny will headline the entertainment during halftime at the Super Bowl. There we go. It is the biggest sports, entertainment, and advertising stage of the year in this country, right? Now, Bad Bunny comes from Puerto Rico. His music is largely in Spanish. He doesn't speak a whole lot of English. And the NFL has been seeking out entertainers to represent the racial and cultural diversity of this country. And this choice, all right, so he's not white, he doesn't speak English, and he's a rapper. So do you think he was just greeted with roses and love? Sure, by some. This choice and the announcement sent certain conservative white populations through the roof. There was, oh, Bad Bunny is not a US citizen. Puerto Rico, part of the US, doesn't get the power of being a state, but is in fact part of the United States. Oh, and that anybody who's going to be entertaining on this scale should learn English in 4 months. Some folks are so incensed that there are plans for, I think, Turning Point, one of those terrible conservative engines, to hold an alternative halftime event with different entertainers. I'm going to make a guess about the demographics of these entertainers. Shall we guess? And the first two guesses don't count. White, English speaking, probably guys, probably able-bodied. There you go. Oh, such reactivity. It's going to keep the news in business for some time. Because simply by making this kind of choice, we get questions about trespasser and guest, hospitality, owner, who counts as a citizen. Boy, we've had that conversation right now, don't we? Even as we continue to be bound by racial and economic hierarchies. Make no mistake, the NFL remains, at best, a mixed bag of bias, capitalism, and white supremacy. And football, I'm just saying, yes, people love football. And power, including for someone like Bad Bunny. That choice reveals, think about that choice reveals where power might actually be. Not just where some folks think it should be. So maybe you don't watch football, but boy, we're going to be eating some popcorn and watching the game. We are called into breaking our habit of colonialism. We are called into our moral imagination that is an exercise of love, of care, of awareness, of respect. We are called into strength, to be in our capacity to meet the world as it is, even when so many things have shaken, so many things have been disrupted. I am so grateful that my children are not learning the same story about Plymouth Rock that I did. They don't. They haven't. They are learning of the diversity of stories, of the power of so many people, and of how important it is to be more equal, more free, and have a healthier connection. This is what we are called into being and doing, even when we don't know, when we are ignorant, when we are so deeply challenged. Let us go forth into being open and willing to face that challenge as people, as a congregation, and as a society. This is such good work. Let us go forth and commit to it together. Amen. Oh, look, there's a fire drill. I know, here we are. The dumpster fire is not actually in the house, we're just kind of practicing. We will be conducting a fire drill today, fire drill upon announcement of the close. Well, we're not closing the hymn. This is a drill. If you're sitting in the street side of the sanctuary, please exit through the rear doors of the sanctuary. Proceed to the north exit over yonder, parking lot over yonder. Down towards the memory garden. If you're sitting in the south side, please exit this door and head towards the memory garden. This door, head towards the memory garden. There we go. Thank you, Pat. The children will be going out up to the upper parking lot. You're welcome to come collect them after they have been confirmed that all the children are there, and we will announce the end of the drill as soon as we know that everybody's out of the building. Thank you.